So Trump has stopped military aid to Ukraine and positioned himself directly against Europe. This is clearly a rift in the Western alliance. And Europe is faced with some existential questions. Questions like, how do they respond to this? And how do they ensure their own security? They're working on some obvious solutions. For starters, Europe is planning to pick up the tab to pay for their defense. They plan to ramp up military spending, both for Ukraine and for themselves. Two things have happened in quick succession. First, a new bank was announced on Sunday. It's called the Defense, Security and Resilience Bank, affectionately referred to as a bomb bank. The bank will arrange for funds so that Europe can borrow money to buy bombs. And of course, other arms and ammunition, they can buy that too. That was step one. Step two took place today.
We are in an era of rearmament. And Europe is ready to massively boost its defense spending, both to respond to the short-term urgency to act and to support Ukraine, but also to address the long-term need to take on more responsibility for our own European security. Europe is ready to assume its responsibilities. Rearm Europe could mobilize close to 800 billion euros of defense expenditures for a safe and resilient Europe. We will, of course, continue working closely with our partners in NATO. This is a moment for Europe, and we are ready to step up.
That was Ursula von der Leyen, President of the European Commission, effectively the head of the European Union. She boldly stated that Europe is ready to step up and mobilize 800 billion euros. This is part of a grand Rearm Europe plan. She made this grand announcement earlier today. Of course, there's always a disclaimer. 800 billion is a projection. It is the maximum possible amount. Only if every EU member chips in. And this amount will be spread over 4 years. It won't be available today or tomorrow. 650 billion will be raised by EU member states by increasing their defense budgets over time, and the remaining 150 billion will be in the form of loans.
The second proposal will be a new instrument. It will provide 150 billion euros of loans to member states for defense investment. This is about basically spending better and spending together. This will help member states to pool demand and to buy together. And of course, with this equipment, member states can massively step up their support to Ukraine. So immediate military equipment for Ukraine.
This sounds good in theory. 150 billion is not a paltry sum. Since the Russia-Ukraine war began, Kiev has received about 126 billion euros in military aid from both the US and Europe. And this is just the military aid over the course of around 3 years. Now, Europe is unleashing 150 billion. If enough of this goes to Ukraine, it could theoretically sustain the war. Again, that's a big if. So Kiev should not get its hopes up. But still, it shows that Europe is getting serious by mobilizing that kind of money. However, the real question still remains, will this 800 billion euro plan work? And will it be enough for Europe to cut its dependencies on the US? Probably not. Here's why I say this. As I mentioned, the 800 billion euros will be spent over 4 years. So that's 200 billion euros a year. Let's add some money from the new bomb bank to this. Let's say 10 billion every year. That comes to 210 billion euros per year, or about $220 billion in a year. It sounds like a lot of money. It is a lot of money, but it doesn't come close to what the US spends. Look at this chart of NATO spending in 2024. It's how much each NATO member spent on defense. On top, of course, is the US. They spent over $967 billion, which is more than 4 times what Europe is proposing now. Clearly, the US is a military behemoth. It outspends all NATO allies put together twice over. So replacing America is pretty much impossible right now. Europe will have to come up with far more money if it ever hopes to decouple with the United States. The new plan is definitely a start, but it will have to keep ramping up spending for way more than 4 years. On the plus side, Europe has some excellent defense firms already, like Dassault Aviation in France, Rheinmetall in Germany, Saab in Sweden, and BAE Systems in the UK. All of these are quality firms, but they will have to expand. They will have to diversify their offerings while cutting their reliance on American components. It's a tough ask. It will take decades. But if the Europeans are serious about their security, they will have to commit to all of this. Because the world order is changing and Europe has been thrust into the rain without their old American security umbrella.
Merci beaucoup. Hi, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Namaste, Mr. President.
Bharat Kelogon, Komeri Namaste.
How many people generally follow you in interviews?
Typically in a month, we have viewers up to 150 million. That's more than twice the population of France. And in the last 2 years, we had 3 billion viewers. So I say, Laurent, this is your chance to be famous. You're on Firstpost. One word to describe your equation with Prime Minister Modi.
Amitié.
As India and France work together, are you creating a new era of non-alignment in the technology space?
India is a training superpower. 1 million engineers a year, more than all of Europe and the US combined. So we have that partnership. We have a partnership on the environment and the economy. We also have civilian nuclear programs, and that is something we've developed far beyond the France-India relationship. So we want to work together on AI.
And then comes China with its DeepSeek, creating models at a fraction of the cost. Did that innovation take you by surprise? Did that breakthrough make you sit up and think, what did the Chinese do and how?
But what did DeepSeek do? They took everything that was already available from the last AI model, and then they recalibrated it.
So are you going to ban Chinese AI in France?
So we don't have this American approach of banning tech because of where it comes from.
From breaking news to the day's biggest controversies, shedding light on the world's top headlines, detailed analysis on the stories that matter the most to you. Catch it all on Spotlight at 6 p.m. India time and 12:30 GMT, only on Firstpost.